Hello everyone and welcome back to the Grand Chess Tour. This is the Tata Steel India edition with the Rapid event. Like I said, first we're going to have the 3 days of Rapid before going into the Blitz section. So it's Jan Nepomniachtchi versus Viswanathan Anand. Vishu won a very nice game against Wesley in round 2, and Nepo lost a very nice game to Magnus in round 2. So now they face off against each other, and this is a game from round 3. So the last game of day 1. Let's see how it goes. Nepo with the white pieces opens with c4, so the English is on the board. We have e5 and sorry about that, something seems to be off with the interface, and g3. We have knight to f6, continuing development, bishop to g2 and bishop to c5, so going for rapid development. We have knight to c3 and c6 now, preparing, well, not d4 but d5. We have knight to f3, challenging the pawn here, inviting e4, so Anand goes for it. We have e4, knight to h4, and now d5. And this position has been reached in the Isle of Man tournament. Anton David Giharo had it against Alexander Grishuk, and c captures on d5 was played. Giharo won that game, but here we have d4, and it's a new move. So already as of move 7, we have a completely new game. And the point is, white wants e captures on d3, which would give white a lot of development. After c captures on d5, knight captures, c captures, and queen captures. You would maybe force black to keep the king in the center of the board for a bit longer, as the d5 pawn is under attack. So here after d4, Anand says not interested, he just goes back, bishop to e7, c captures on d5, we have c captures on d5, and now both players castle. We have castles, and f3. Nepo challenges the center. As we usually say, you want to challenge the central pawn with a less central pawn. So such is the case here, and you do ruin your pawn structure a bit, but you get an open file, semi-open file for your rook. So knight to c6 by Anand, and now knight to f5. So probably Nepo knew the game Giharo versus Grishuk, and he prepared this d4 line, and he had this knight to h4 to f5 move prepared, and it seems like a very annoying knight, and you don't really have a good way of kicking it away from there. You don't want to give up your bishop for the knight, as this is a good bishop even though it's still undeveloped, and you don't want to play something like g6 because you lose the game on the spot due to the f6 knight being, well, after knight captures, queen captures, you have to defend the knight. Bishop g5 is just deadly. Although you can, for the moment, prevent rook captures, but now just knight captures, and you cannot capture back due to the pin, so once you move the queen, just captures with check, and black falls apart. So for the moment, this here is a monster knight. We have knight to e4 by Anand. And now comes rook back to f1, opening up this bishop's diagonal. We have bishop to f6, putting pressure on the d4 pawn now, and just now e3. Strengthening the center, we have knight captures on c3, b captures, and just bishop to e6. Finally, black is allowed to continue development. We have rook to b1 by Nepo, putting pressure on the b7 pawn here, and Anand goes queen to d7. Defense and also attacks, as the knight here is under attack twice now. We have e4 by Nepo, and here Anand has to play d captures on e4. There's no other way around it, but Anand doesn't capture here. After e4, Anand goes rook f to e8, and this doesn't work. Why it doesn't work? Feel free to pause the video here and try to figure out why it doesn't work, while I give you a couple of seconds. For those of you who were able to do it, congratulations on finding such a nice idea. And for those of you who just want to enjoy the show, it's knight to h6. But it's not enough to only see the first move. I'm sure you all thought of this one. Now, of course, if pawn captures, rook captures, white is clearly better. Here you've messed up the black's pawn structure. The queen has a very easy entry to the attack. Bishop captures and h6 is coming. Black falls apart here. So, of course, Anand goes king to h8. But now comes rook captures on f6, as all of you already figured it out. G captures on f6, and now queen to f3. And this queen to f3 is the prize move, because now there's the queen to f6 mate, as the knight covers the g8 square, but also you're just winning back your piece, because pawn captures here, traps the bishop on e6, well, also attacks the knight. So here you would just win back the piece, and you've messed up black's pawn structure. So even that is enough. So how to defend against mate? And other threats, well, it's not easy. For example, if f5, to prevent queen to f6, bishop to g5 with the threat of bishop to f6 mate is very strong. So after king to rook g8, you're gonna deliver check, rook has to block, and now you're just gonna pick up the pawn back, and you're gonna win back your piece, you're gonna win back material, and of course win the game very easily. So another idea is queen to d8 to just guard the pawn here, but now you just capture it. You just win back the piece. After bishop captures, you're gonna go queen captures, and then now bishop captures here, and after all is said and done, you have 2 bishops for a rook, which is of course completely winning. There's no good way to defend the f7 pawn, so completely lost for black. So here Anand went king to g7. He said, I'm gonna try and defend the pawn this way, but still, it pretty much runs into the same idea. With pawn captures on d5 now, winning back the piece. Bishop captures on d5, and here Nepo played knight to f5 check, and it was in this position that Viswanathan Anand resigned the game on move 22. As we pretty much go into the same line, after the king moves, king h8, you just pick up the piece, and after queen captures, bishop captures, again we end up in a position where it's 2 bishops for a rook, a completely winning position for white. And Anand of course knows this, and he doesn't want to drag it on. So yeah, that's a very nice game from round 3 of the Tata Steel Chess India Rapid Edition. I do hope you enjoyed it. Nice comeback for Nepo after losing that game to Magnus. And we're going to show one more game from round 3, and then we're going to discuss the standings a bit. So I do hope you enjoyed it. I would like to thank David Gill and David Hrib for their contribution to my channel. Thank you a lot. I really appreciate it. As usual, you can check 2 of my previous videos here. Thank you all for watching, and I will see you soon. Continuing the coverage of the Tata Steel Rapid Edition in India. Checking out on your wonderful suggestions and whatever else happens in the chess world. So thank you all. I will see you soon, and have an excellent rest of your day.